All right, today we're going to talk about solving equations, specifically one-step equations. But before we get into that, I want to kind of put your mind in a different place to make you have a better understanding of what equations actually are. So first of all, I got a picture of a guy here standing on a canoe. Okay, think about it. If somebody were to stand on that side of the canoe, what would happen? Obviously, he would tip over in the water. Okay? And that's what our equations are going to be. If we don't balance things out on both sides, then it's going to become unbalanced and tip. So with that being said, if a guy gets on a canoe and he puts equal weight on both sides of the canoe is going to balance. It may teeter a little bit, but it's going to balance. It's not going to tip over. Okay? Same thing that happens to a scale. If you guys have ever seen a scale similar to this. If I add something to this side of the scale, it's going to become heavier and it's going to drop, making the other side go up. But if I were to add a weight here and the same weight here, the scale would stay balanced. It wouldn't go either direction. Okay? So taking that idea and going into equations. Equations means both sides are equal. Just like that canoe. To keep it balanced and from tipping over, you have to have equal weight on both sides. Same with the scale. To keep that scale balanced, you have to put the same weight on both sides. If you take a weight off from one side of the scale, it's going to tilt anyway. Okay, so you got to take the same weight off both sides. So deal with equations. We understand that 4 equals 4. That's just, we all know that. Okay, if we get into x equals 5, so now we're throwing variables in there. A variable just means an unknown number. So in this case, we have x equals 5. So x is 5. And those are very simple, but I want you to get that basic understanding before we get into trying to solve these things. All right, so on these one-step equations, we have x plus 1 equals 7. So all we have is a number, we're going to add 1 to it, and we're going to get 7. Well, you guys can already tell me 6 plus 1 is 7. So we don't have to do any solving on that. We can just look at it and understand. Okay, same thing in the second one. We have 2. When a 2 is right next to a variable, it just means multiply, or when a number is right next to a variable. So this means 2 times x equals 10. Well, you guys can tell me 2 times 5 is 10. So we don't have to do anything to those besides just look at them and think and be able to solve. All right, but let's say we get to a problem where we've got some negatives in there and we have to do a little bit of thinking. In this case, we have x plus 12 is going to be equal to negative 4. I'm sorry, x minus 12. All right, just think about when we're talking about the scale and the weights. If I take something away or I add something to one side, then I've got to do the same thing to the other side to keep those scales balanced and not from tilting. Okay, my goal is to get x by itself on one side and all my numbers on the other side. So I need negative 12 to go away. Well, when we're working with equations, we have to do the opposite. I have to get this number to 0. Right now it's at negative 12. So I need to add 12 to this side, because 12 minus 12 will be 0, leaving us with just x on that side. So remember, I added 12 to this. That means this weight has shifted down now. To balance it back out, I have to add 12 to this side also. So now I just have my x, and over here I have 12 minus 4. Okay, I'll do it down here at the bottom as well so you can see it. I added 12 to this side, and I added 12 to the other side. 12 minus 12 is 0, leaving me with just x. 12 minus 4 is 8. Okay. One of the big keys when solving these equations is we have to do the opposite of what is out there. If we go back to the previous slide, okay, in our bottom equation, we have 2 times x equals 10. Okay, you guys can already tell me 2 times 5 is 10. But we have to do the opposite of what it's asking for here if we want to mathematically solve it out. So 2 times x, to get rid of the 2, we would have to divide. So 2 divided by 2 is now going to give us 1. So we have 1x like we're trying to accomplish. And on the other side, we have 10 divided by 2, which is 5. So the same thing you guys already knew, but now we actually showed it mathematically.